someone who carries the batting of his entire team on his broad shoulders, 31-year-old Christopher Henry Gale has been a prolific run-getter, with 6 of his 13 centuries having been scores of over 150. But a big score has eluded him since 2005 when he struck a career-best 317 against South Africa in Antigua. Since then, captaincy has come to him, and so have riches through the Indian Premier League. But his hunger for a big score has been on Gale's mind for some time now, having scored 3 centuries in 20 Test innings until November 2010. But a 3-match Test series against Sri Lanka seemed to be a good opportunity for the Southpaw to get a big one. The picturesque Galle International Cricket Stadium was a perfect setting for a gale of an innings. West Indies had not won a series against Sri Lanka since 2005, and they had a new captain in Darren Sammy. The toss was won by Sammy, and the decision to bat first was a good one. Chris Gayle and Adrian Barrett walked into bat for the Windies. The former captain was not sure-footed in the beginning, with Dhammika Prasad causing all sorts of problems.
Gale's finding it difficult to locate this ball. He's played and missed on these 3 occasions.
Ball didn't bounce too much also, but going to the keep on the second bounce, the ball staying down a little bit from Dhammika Prasad.
It took some time for Gale to sort out his rhythm, and then he picked Thilan Thushara for some special treatment.
Nice shot. He was really asking to be tucked away because it was a long half volley from Thilan Thushara and off the middle of the bat and controlled by Gale.
Yeah, Gale has been waiting for this. It's been a long time. A lot of the deliveries that he's faced have been concentrated outside that off stump. On this occasion, the bowler just over-pitching. And with that big bat of his, he just has to lean on it and it races away.
That was even better from Gale. Again, the dominant bottom hand, working the ball onto the onside with the angle.
Can't help to think that Thilan Thushara here has just lost a little bit of patience with the battle against Gale.
In the air, right back overhead, that's a big hit by Chris Gayle, typical Chris Gayle. Hit it with certainty. He rarely has now overcome his early uncertainty, and he was very uncertain early on, and that's a fine hit over long off.
With Ajantha Mendes coming on, Gale wanted to set an example for his team. He straight away tried to dominate Mendes, a bowler whom most of the West Indies batsmen on tour had no inkling of. Gale had a close shave with Suraj Randeep aiming for the stumps. Gale mistimed the sweep and Sri Lanka pondered a review.
Prolonged appeal from Randeep and Jayawardene. Now there is the UDRS system in this test. Will they call for a no? Won't call for a review.
The spinners continued to build pressure on Gale. Ajantha Mendes almost took his revenge.
Seemed to be a little bit of an inside edge at some point on that. The question being asked by Sangakkara, should he go for a review? Yes, he goes for it. So it's the first use of the decision review system so far in this test match.
What happens here now? Yes, a big inside edge. So Chris Gayle is pretty safe, and the Sri Lankans have lost one of their reviews.
And he remains with his initial decision. I did think there was bat involved at some point there, and also wide of the off stump. Now, who was responsible, Ranulph, for convincing Sangakkara to use that review?
Good luck and a solid partner was giving Gale good company. Darren Bravo was holding on the other end with aplomb. As Gale was inching to his century, so was his confidence.
And that's a beautiful sweep shot. Hit square of the wicket and hit very firmly. Gale finds the boundary once again.
Well, 50 partnership. He's dominated it.
Suraj Randeep pitched it full again, and Gale punished the bowler with a maximum.
Down he goes, lofts it over the top. He's on the go, Chris Gayle. Spectators scattering to get out of the way of Gale's fourth six. and he moves very quickly into the 90s. He's now 95. West Indies moving on to 167 for 1.
It's another big hit by Chris Gale, and I think this nearly found itself on the bus to Colombo. There's a stream of buses behind the sight screen there, and it's hit well over the boundary, very close to those buses, but a lovely shot, a controlled shot, you'd have to say.
With 5 more to go to his century, Gale dispatched the ball over long off.
Down he goes again, down to long off. There's a fielder out there, and he goes back, and that's his 100 with a 6. Chris Gale right over the top of the fielder, and Chris Gale has got his 13th Test 100, his first in the subcontinent. And there he goes. What a way to mark 100. It's been a big innings for him. He was replaced by captain by Darren Sammy, somewhat controversial circumstances. Big innings for him here. He's proved his worth, that whether he's captain or not makes no difference to him.
Gale's 13th Test century was based on determination and a plan to make a good start work for him and the team, something he was confident about on the morning of the game.
Well, I'm hitting it well, and that's only in the nets, but we'll see what happens in the game. So, like I said, once you can get a good start on these other wickets, and based on the experience I saw over here, it should be good to batten, good to batten, and once you get that sort of start, then you should actually try and capitalize as much as possible.
West Indies were on course for a very good first day total, and more was to come from Gale's blade. After the break, it's a record which fits just right for the big hitter. Welcome back to Great Centuries. West Indies opener Chris Gale is going strong at 172 and is set to bat long and notch records along the way. And one bowler who helped him accumulate at will was off-spinner Suraj Randev.
Safe, it was in the air, but backward of that fielder at point. And it's gone. It has gone for 4.
Chris Gale looking to elevate the ball over cover, but finding the thick edge. Wow, well, that has gone a very, very long way. That's out of the ground. Chris Gale on that occasion using his feet and hitting that ball over mid-off, and it going well over the stadium. What a wonderful strike.
Yes, he really did smack it. Probably one of the biggest hits we've seen on this ground. Gave himself room to swing his arms, came down the track, get very close to the ball, but that was done intentionally so that he could get elevation, he could get distance.
Randev had put the shackles on Gale after this onslaught, but Gale found an innovative way to break free.
Now there's a reverse sweep by Gale. I don't think I've ever seen him do the reverse sweep. Well, that's the first time he's got 4 off for it. Heaven knows how. Let's have a look. Given 4.
It's gone very fine, very unlike where a reverse sweep would go. It would rather go pretty square, but this time right behind the keeper.
Well, 2 in a row now, and he's connected with that one really well. First one, not so well. Both of them producing boundaries. Gale pushes on, and the West Indies continue to pile on the runs.
Well, it's becoming very difficult for the Sri Lankans because Gale's connecting his reverse sweeps too quite well. That's the last reverse sweep that went to deep cover. So he's got 2 reverse sweeps in the over. That's his answer to that. That's the first one. That went very fine, and this time square.
With Gale on an overdrive, the Sri Lankans had to grab every opportunity that came their way.
Oh, there's a chance there. Gale coming down the wicket and blasting that past Randev. It's certainly catchable, but only to the brave.
Blasting it through Randev is more like it.
What a shot. Chris Gale, before the ball was bowled, gave himself room outside the leg stump to go in out over cover.
more of it. Most sixes that Chris Gayle has hit in the test innings.
Gayle now has 74 sixes in tests, which puts him 7th in the list of batsmen with more sixes.
Oh, that's in the air. That could be out. It will be out. Surely it's taken. Sam O'Leary takes an easy catch. And it's a disappointing end to a good innings from Darren Bravo.
Yeah, Darren Bravo on this occasion looked to pull the ball away on the leg side and getting a top edge.
With the loss of Darren Bravo, West Indies finished day 1 at 362 for 2. Bravo and Gayle made the record for the highest second wicket partnership at Galle, surpassing the 181 run stand between Paranavithana and Sangakkara. Day 2 started on a slippery note for Gayle. At 219, the West Indian was looking to beat his personal best of 317, but the very first ball of the day by Ajantha Mendes foxed Gayle.
Big appeal, first ball, not out. Will they review it? Well, a sensational start. Yes, they have asked for the review. First ball of the day.
Well, was there an inside edge? Bat and pad squeezed, or otherwise it was pretty straight, I thought.
There's a long stride. Yeah, there's a bat. First ball of the day, and that's failed. Unsuccessful.
Gayle survived again, and he became circumspect in his innings to the extent that he left all 6 deliveries peacefully off Tushara. This was one of the underlying features of his approach on day 2. From an attacker, he had become an accumulator. Although Sri Lanka were trying to restrict and entice Gayle to make a mistake, the Jamaican picked his balls with patience for some clean hits.
That's the thing with Gayle. He's been hemmed in. He's on the defensive mostly, but as soon as the ball is there, picks it up very early and hits it hard down the ground for the second boundary of the day, his second 2. Edge, no second slip, 4 runs to vacant third man. Well, perhaps an opportunity missed, but it's 400, 3 wickets down. You don't usually have in more than a slip for a batsman who is well past 200.
Milestones continue to come Gayle's way as he scampered to his 250.
That's his 250 for Chris Gayle. Raises the bat, just a little celebration. Nothing too extravagant, nothing too unusual.
But Gayle would have an unusual score in mind, especially surpassing his personal best of 317 and maybe beyond. Gayle's innings also saw him go past New Zealander Stephen Fleming's record of 274 to become the only overseas batsman to blast the highest score on Sri Lankan soil. There is plenty more action in great centuries, including how a stroke of luck saved Gayle from being dismissed. Welcome back to Great Centuries. It is the first test against Sri Lanka at Galle, and West Indies have started off on the right note. They are 478 for 3 on the second day, and opener Chris Gayle is on 286 not out and in sight of a record score. We catch the action with Damika Prasad bowling to Gayle.
Now that's gone. That is a big effort from Damika Prasad. He has not stopped running in all the way through the play in this test match. That is a huge effort to get Gayle on 287 with a short delivery. No wonder he's down. Big effort.
Yes, indeed, a tremendous effort by Damika Prasad, and Chris Gayle is waiting.
Can only speculate that maybe it's Brendan Nash who maybe spotted something and alerted Chris Gale.
This is what we were talking about. You can't afford something like this to happen.
Real drama, Sammy. Yeah, no ball, so it's a reprieve. Oh, that was interesting cricket. Very interesting cricket.
Gale is riding on good fortune and he gets ever so close to the 300 mark. At 297, he is on the brink of a landmark innings. A much coveted score that will catapult him to the Hall of Fame.
Well, he's broken the field there. The two short covers, he's split the two of them and he's reached the 300. What an innings. Terrific shot to bring up his 300. Chris Gale in the middle of the wicket on his knees. And his teammates applaud. What else can you say?
It's a touching moment. He has a big smile on his face. Congratulated by the Sri Lankan captain, Kumar Sangakkara. What a wonderful innings it's been. No doubt about it, everyone who's seen this has appreciated the 301 by Chris Gale. Now it joins a very select band of cricketers who've made 2 triple centuries. That's a moment to remember on the 16th of November 2010, mid-afternoon in Galle.
Definitely a red letter day as Chris Gale became only the 4th Test cricketer to crack 2 triple centuries. He is now in the august company of Sir Don Bradman, Virendra Sehwag and Brian Lara.
It's good to be such in the class of the great players you just mentioned there. So I'm happy with the performance and really looking forward to this, and hopefully I actually can build on this sort of start.
Over the top, and this is big. This is big. The first 6 of the day for Chris Gale. And what a great shot. Straight over mid-off, using his feet and timing it perfectly.
In a succession of milestones, Chris Gale not only surpassed Yunus Khan's record of the highest individual test score for a batsman in Sri Lanka, but also his personal best of 317 that he made in 2005. But just after reaching his career best, a hamstring injury forced Gale to call for a runner.
Darren Bravo is going to come out and run for Chris Gale.
After a bout with the physio, Gale was back on his feet. Darren Bravo as the runner afforded him to free his arms once again.
Gale just slugging away on the onside, gets a boundary for it. I just wonder with this injury whether Gale will now decide, well, I'm hobbling around. We've got a big score on the board, and perhaps we'll see more of this. Now that'll be 4, I think. Fielder can't get around. Gale's found exactly where he was looking for. And boundary just standing up straight and punching.
Well, he would like the ball coming onto him because he doesn't need to make much movements. He can hit it from where he is. With his restriction, it won't be too much of a problem. Plenty of width outside your stump.
Not anymore, because Mendes has gone through Chris Gale. Mendes coming into his own here belatedly. It's been a marathon effort by Gale. And just by dint of that, we assume there's no review called for, but what an effort from Chris Gale.
Beautifully bowled by Mendes, but Chris Gale is getting recognised by all the Sri Lankans, congratulating him on what was a wonderful innings. 333, a marathon performance. He's batted so well over nearly 2 days. He's shown us his ability to hit the ball out of the ground, into the pickets, and also his ability to bat long periods of time, which takes great concentration. A tremendous achievement here in Galle. Chris Gale is now out, and the Sri Lankans are starting to make some inroads into this West Indies side.
Chris Gale's innings of 333 broke many records and set many milestones along the way, including that of the highest away score by a West Indies batsman, surpassing Vivian Richards' 291 at the Oval. The triple century had perfectly set up the match for West Indies as Sri Lanka were made to follow on, but bad weather spoilt any chance of a result. Nonetheless, the Galle International Stadium and the lucky spectators had been treated to a scintillating innings from the Calypso King.